Hey, what's up all you Valley Maniacs? Valley Flying here. I am back. I hope you guys like the new intro, and in this video, we are talking about the top 10 free-to-play characters for you to farm, and with me, just like last month, is my boy Pa Pokeman. What's up, brother?
Good to see you guys. I'm excited to be here to learn, so I can learn for myself who are the free-to-play characters I want to be farming.
Well, you are in luck, my friend, because that is exactly what we are talking about in this video. And for those of you that did not watch last month's video, I will be revealing this list to Pa Pokeman as I reveal it to you guys. So you are getting his live to tape reaction. So just for review, this is last month's list right here. Boom. Coming at number 10, Drax. 9, Korath. 8, Kingpin. 7, Hand Century. 6, Crossbones. 5, Gamora. 4, Hawkeye. 3, Yondu. 2, Captain America. 1, Quake. And there have been a lot of changes in the game since this list came out, and some of these characters have moved around. So let me talk about some of these changes before we get into August's list. Let me just go off of them because there's been a lot. I have to write all these down because there's so many. All right, so first, right after we made the list, SpiderMan Vision got reworked. We had Star-Lord come out. He had his kit changed a little bit. We had a new level cap, so some of these characters actually got increased skills. Their basic and their passives all got up, so we had that happen. New characters became farmable. We had 4 characters become farmable that weren't farmable before. Black Panther, Vision, Cable, Doctor Strange. Now, I will give you guys a spoiler. I think these guys are still pretty hard to farm, so I'm not including them on the list. I definitely think Vision and Doctor Strange would be there if they were a little easier to farm. All right. Reworks to Thanos, Loki, Star-Lord we mentioned earlier. We got new raids, so some of the characters that were heavily favored in raids got bumped up a little. And then we got a new update with new characters. None of them are farmable, so they are not on the list. So let me clear this out. And before I get into the list, Pa Pokeman, what do you think has changed? How many characters do you think stayed in, and how many had to leave?
All right, I'm thinking 3 characters got cut. I'm saying Drax, Korath, and Hand Century. That's my those are my 3 cuts.
All right. Those are good guesses. Any other changes that you suspect before we get to this list?
In terms of new characters, I don't really know. This is maybe I think SpiderMan might stand a chance. He's pretty farmable, and with his new changes, I think he's doing pretty good nowadays.
I like him. Anybody else you think made this list that was not on last month's list?
Honestly, I don't really know. This is
all right. Well, we are gonna find out. Well, I know because I made the list, but we as the audience and you're gonna find out at the same time. So let's get to it. Number 10, boom, Drax. I kept him on. He was falling, and I really wanted to take him off, but he's very strong, and he's very annoying to get around his taunt. What do you think of him still being on this list?
No, he's still a pretty good character. I think he's lucky that Thanos is so unfarmable. Otherwise, I think Thanos would boot him out.
Oh, Thanos would definitely be on this list and Drax would be gone if Thanos was farmable.
Have those raids. But Drax, he's still one of the most tanky characters you can get in this game. His damage sort of lacking, but if you're looking for somebody to just take the blow for your team, then Drax is the one to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You're not bringing Drax to damage and kill some people. You're bringing him on to take some shots so the rest of your guys can. So Drax stayed on the list. Congratulations to Drax. Boom, number 9. Hand Century is still on the list. He is still a strong character. He is an annoying list, and he's an annoying character to be on there. And he's still on. What are your feelings on Hand Century? Because I still like him, and he is still very farmable. He's not hard to farm.
No, I still think he's a solid character. I was just expecting somebody more. I was expecting new characters to take his place, but he's still. Yeah. I mean, he helped me clear Mystic. I would not have made it as far as I did in Mystic without a smoke bomb.
Yeah, I mean, he does have some hard counters now. Doctor Strange has countered him for a little while. Vision is now a hard counter to him, but
Archer.
Hand Archer, if you're using, yeah, but he does have some hard counters. He's not a perfect character, but he makes the team very protective. He protects his team very well. So both of these guys do their job very well, and that is to protect the team.
He's a real noble guy.
Yeah, he just takes a shot, just like Drax, doesn't do a lot of damage. So very similar type characters. They use different mechanisms. Drax uses the traditional taunt. Hand Sentry uses stealth on everybody else. Plus, he gives evade to everybody else as well. So, or not everybody else, but a few of the characters. So, very, very good. Let's move on. Number 8. Boom. There's your boy, SpiderMan. He is on the list. Number 8. I really like him. Right. I really like him. The defense down. That is a killer. Up to 4 characters. Either 3 or 4 once you max out his skill. You put him on the right team, and he just kills. Plus, he's got a stun and a slow on his ultimate, which already deals a lot of damage. So he's just a very strong character. He can dodge. He's got a lot to do. He's a very good character.
Yeah, I know, and oh man, Spider-Man, I really think it's a fun mechanic that whenever he dodges, he gets a little bit of his speed bar back. I think that's a really, like, a sort of nice mechanic they have that I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like what Spider-Man would do. That makes sense for him. I'm a big fan of his passive.
Yeah, his passive is nice. I'm more of a fan of his special, but whatever reason you find you need to get him on your team, you need to get him on your team because he is very good and he's very, very farmable. All right, let's move on. Number 7 on the list. Boom! It is Night Nurse. She returns to the list after missing last month. The raids were very, very easy last month. It was just the level 50s at that point, and we could pretty much auto them. But since then, the raids have gotten a lot harder. We've seen what Thanos can bring last month. They brought it back the exact same way with less rewards. And we got these new level 65 raids, so she is even more important. She's back on the list. Best healer in the game and essential to the raids, especially now that they got harder.
Yeah, I mean, the raids. Whew. We don't talk about those.
You still get good rewards if you get 30% it, though, on that level 65 one.
Now that I'm in a hardcore alliance, now I'm raking in the dough.
Oh, yeah. You guys check out the Discord if you want to join Pa Pokemon's alliance. The link is in the description below. All right, let's move on, though. We are here for the list. Number 6. Boom, Crossbones. Same exact spot. He hasn't changed too much. He's a good character. At the point of recording this, no debuffs or no nerfs has happened to him, so... whatever they're thinking for the nerfs, I think he will still remain very high if they don't touch that detonate. What do you think about his spot on the list?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only concerning thing about him. If the nerf is detonate into the ground, we haven't really seen Fox Next nerf characters yet. I mean, they nerfed summoning back in the early days of the beta, but we haven't seen what it's like when they nerf a character. If they nerf a character as hard as they buff a character, things might be looking a little iffy for Crossbones in the future, but as of today, he's still a very solid character.
Yeah, that detonate is scary. You need to plan your whole attack and your whole choosing the team just based on that one move. So a very, very strong character. Nothing's really changed with him, and I'm hoping nothing does as far as his big move. All right, moving on. Number 5 on the list. Boom. Gamora. She is still in that spot. Not much has changed with her as well. Huge damage and kind of like Black Panther. And Black Panther would probably be on this list if he was a little easier to farm. That's the only reason he's not on here. But she can just keep going and going after her ultimate and her special. And she could take out multiple opponents on one turn. Very good kit. Very high damage. What else there's to say that hasn't been said about Gamora, Pa?
I'm sure if you've been following any Marvel Strike Force YouTube channel since the beginning of the game, I'm sure you've heard plenty about how good Gamora is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about her that hasn't already been said. She is a good character. Farm her. Probably a little better than Spider-Man and Crossbones. They're all available in that Blitz store as of us recording this. Who knows what will change. But I would probably go Gamora, then Crossbones, then Spider-Man. But you can't really go wrong with either one depending on what your team needs. So, very good character. Number 4. Number 4. All right, we got Hawkeye here again. What do you think about that?
Hawkeye, as
Same
some of you
rating.
might know, it started out rough for me and him. I used to think he was pretty bad. That I've learned about how good Hawkeye is with his blind.
Blind. Dispel. That is one of the best dispels in the game. My personal favorite dispel on his second move. And then he's got a nice passive. The update wasn't that nice to him. He didn't really get a lot of bonus from that level 65 increase for his skills, but he still remains one of the best farmable characters right now. What else is there to say about him? And
He's just very
talked
versatile.
about him a lot. Yeah, he could fit into a bunch of teams as well, and that's why he's a little higher on the list than some of these other characters. All right, next, number 3, Quake.
Whoa,
She
Quake's been booted
her
down.
reign has been dethroned after many months on top of this list. She's been number 1 ever since I started doing this list. Actually, she might not have been number 1 in the beginning, but she's been on number 1 for a while, and she has fallen. Any thoughts before I explain why I've dropped her a little?
No, I'm interested to see. Maybe I'm more interested to see who's dethroned her.
All right, well,
But let's talk about Quake before we get there.
all right, she's still a very good character. Very farmable. It should be one of your first farms. She still has that one of the best, if not the best basic, in my opinion, with that slow. Could be getting nerfed, but that was not taken into account in this list. The reason I dropped her is the update was not kind to her. She did not get a lot of help on her basic or her passive, and for that reason, I dropped her slightly. Now, she's still a very good character, one of the best characters in the game. Even at this number 3 spot, it's just that number 2 and number 1 are so good. And I think you know who they are. I think you got to kind of guess on where they rank, though. So any thoughts before we get to number 2 and number 1? How do you think
So
it plays
is it gonna
out?
be Captain America or Yondu? And the question is, what order?
It is.
I'm gonna say. No, I'm gonna say Yondu number 1. I know you're a big fan of his new passive thanks to the update.
Yeah, you've zeroed in on my logic. Coming in at number 2 is Captain America. He is
I know exactly what
the
you're thinking.
great character. The update was kind to him. His special and passive got a little bit better. Not so much his special, but his passive very good. And he's a good character. Best tank in the game. He adds a lot to a lot of teams, especially that Avengers and Shield team. Again, kind of like Gamora and Quake and Hawkeye, and what else there's to say about him that hasn't already been said? He's a good character. You should definitely farm him as soon as possible.
Nah, I think he's Captain America, man. He has. Oh, yeah. He's like the soul of the Avengers team.
Yeah. You need a tank on the Avengers team. Unfortunately, my boy Hulk is not gonna do it for you, so you got to bring along Captain America. He's even good in some non-Avengers teams. And he got a little bit of buff in that last update, and then it was nerfed right away. So there was that happened as well. He definitely went up to the number 1 spot for a brief period there. I don't know if you guys remember that. But coming in at the number 1 spot, just like you guessed earlier, is Yondu. Very, very good, and you're exactly right. The reason he got bumped up on this update is because of his passive. It got upgraded. Instead of sealing buffs off and applying it to himself off of 1 enemy, now it is off of 2 enemies, plus his basic still has that debuff, the dispel 2 buffs from the enemy. He could potentially be taking 4 buffs off the enemy team on 1 turn. Very, very strong. Every turn he can be doing that. Very strong. And this rating is not taking into account any potential nerfs or anything that has been talked about. So he could be dropping in next month's list. But what do you think about Yondu moving up 2 places to the number 1 spot?
No, I think still with Yondu, even if, probably the most likely thing to get nerfed is his buff removal. Even if his buff removal gets changed, unlike Crossbones, where Crossbones is kind of a one-trick pony, he's depending on the detonate. Even without all that, Yondu is still a pretty versatile character, pretty good damage. He can summon minions that could potentially heal your ally. So even if they do change some of his passives, I think he's still a worthwhile character to invest in.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to prof him pretty hard to have him fall off this list totally. But right now, with the way everything is right now, I think he is the best farmable character in the game. Can help you in a lot of game modes. He's a villain. He has that cosmic tag, and he just he doesn't really need to even be in a team to give that benefit because he does summons. He has an AOE and he clears effects. Just very, very good character.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that's really interesting about him is he is one of the first characters you can farm at Heroes 1-9. So he is a character that a lot of people get, they get to know him really well at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you can start farming on your first day playing the game. So I definitely would recommend farming him and getting him to a decent level because he will help you beginning, middle, and end game. So definitely invest in Yondu. Any big surprises now that you see this full list? Yondu, Captain America, Quake, Hawkeye, Gamora, Crossbones, Night Nurse, SpiderMan, Hand Century, and Drax.
Now, Drax was the only one I was still surprised to see Drax hanging on at the end there.
Who are you going to put in that 10 spot instead of Drax?
I don't know, but there's definitely been... See, the problem with all these new characters that they've added that are now farmable is I'd consider some of them more valuable than Drax, but they're just so hard to come by compared to Drax. Drax is a very easy
Vision would definitely be on this list if his node was a little easier. Same with Doctor Strange. Black Panther would probably be on this list as well if his node was a little easier. That's the main reason that they got left off. But those are also very good characters. If you could farm them, definitely farm those guys. All right, well, that is about it. That is the top 10 free-to-play characters for the month of August 2018. Pa Pokeman, we just did a video on his channel about a new tier list that came out that he put together for this month as well. So tell him a little bit about that.
Now, Valley and I, we worked together. We kind of put where we think the characters fall in the game in terms of overall worth. The kind of exciting thing about that is, unlike this tier list, where unlike this list, we're sort of looking at the best characters when you're starting out the game. In the tier list, we're sort of more looking at an overall view of the game, assuming you could reach any character easily. So if you want to maybe get an eye for what you should be looking for in the long term, that's a good list to look at.
Yeah, we talk about a bunch of the characters. You can kind of see where they are ranked. When we disagree, we talk about it in that video. So you could definitely check that out. Make sure you check out the rest of the videos on his channel and give him a subscribe. He puts out some really good content. Very knowledgeable for a 16-year-old.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I will see you guys next time. If you haven't already, click that BlueStacks link down below. Make sure you check that out. You install it on your channel. You install that on your computer, and the channel gets credit. And that's about it. I got one question for you, Pa Pokeman.
Yes.
What you gonna do, brother, when Valley Flying and all the Valley Maniacs come down on you, dude?
Oh, jeez.
Valley Flying out.